July 22nd, 2025. Welcome to This Week in Waukesha, the podcast series brought to you by Civic Media and WAUK 540 AM radio. I am your most passionate host, Downtown Donnie Brown, coming to you from the office of former Alderman Don Paul Brown in the Work Hub Studios in downtown Waukesha. Yes, that is a mouthful. And tonight's a special treat. At the very last second, initially we were going to have Erin McGroovy as a guest, or one of the up-and-coming musical talents that many of you know is who tends bar during the day at Nice Ash Cigar Bar. But her, credits include playing the Les Paul first annual birthday party, and I think this was his 109th. And then she also played Summerfest. And then this Saturday she'll be debuting at the historic Club 400. Did I say that right, Mary Jane?
Yes, you did.
Club 400, where it all began with the Les Paul legacy. So, but Erin had dinner plans with her mother that were in conflict, and certainly understandable. Moms always come first. But I'm privileged to have another mother of sorts, a very dear friend, a great friend of the city of Waukesha, a downtown business owner for more than 42 years, who shows no signs whatsoever of slowing down. I'm really honored to have Stephanie Olson. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm great.
Great. Now, for many of you regular listeners, you might remember when Stephanie was on my radio show back in it was June of 2024, and it was a different scenario, one involving her, shall we say, successful fight against injustice, against sexual assault, and but I only mention this because it's if you know Stephanie, you know that this doesn't define her. There is the word victim is not a part of her anatomy or her DNA. She's continues to work hard at her business. She has a full complement of customers. She does different types of shows and basically in the fashion craft, if you will. And she approached me recently. She's working with a local artist here named Melissa Hilmer, which is another great story. And they're basically taking children's art and repurposing it for women's fashion. So Stephanie, the floor, tell us more about that.
Okay. I came up with this idea. I've been doing art shows for years, actually decades. I started when I was 5. No, just kidding. And I thought, I make clothes and I go out on the road, do different festivals, and I repurpose fabric, or I buy fabric and I applicate them on clothing, and then I sell them to women. And then I thought, it's nice, it's fun and all this, but there's nothing to it. It's just getting kind of boring. And then I thought I should go around and get these kids to paint on fabric, and then I wear these things, and then people always come and ask me, what's that mean, or what is that? And then I have a story, and believe it or not, I used to be shy, and so
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah. So anyway, I went to Melissa's art studio. It's Otto's Art Gallery, Art Academy, actually, downtown on Broadway. And she was gracious enough to let me have her students paint on fabric. And I just went in there, and she said, well, what do you want us to do? And I said, can I give you some fabric and some paint and just ask the kids to just paint a flower? So I got all this fabric with their interpretation of flowers. So I appliqued them on a dress that I was going to wear to an art show. And then I said, do you think they could just applique or just paint on some fabric and put their own names on this fabric? And nice. So I appliqued them on a dress that I wore to an art fair in Delafield, not last weekend, but the week before. And people are coming up to me and saying, wow, I love that dress. And I said, look a little closer.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's a name. That's a name. So I had a story on what I was wearing. And then it's not so boring. It's not so quiet.
And you think of like gifts, like for the house, like the older we get, the harder we are to buy for, especially moms and grandmas. What do you buy for the people who have everything? And I guess this could work for men too. Like, hey, let's get the grandkids or the kids, if you're young, if you're a young parent or a parent with young children, and come up with something like just like because yours were like slacks, right? Or it was like a blouse. It was different.
A
Yeah,
dress.
dress. You know,
Hmm.
like and that's the kind of thing that mom might only wear it like once a year during the holidays because the kids are coming over
Hmm.
or whatever. But it's just the thought and the fact that these memories are captured on something you can wear,
Oh yeah, and I
and
mean
you
I
can always
can put them
frame it
on
or yeah.
tux. I do the thing I do, which is probably the least creative thing I do, is I get men's tuxedo shirts
Mm.
and I splatter paint on them, and then fabric applique these like a Christmas theme,
Oh, neat.
you know, sport themes, all kinds of different,
That's kind of
blue
like are they
jeans.
like the straightforward tuxedo shirts or
Yeah,
the
with the
ruffled ones?
pleats. No,
Oh,
the
just
pleats,
okay.
and yeah, and
Ruffles would
then
be fun though too.
yeah, yeah, I don't
So
know, Don, but
so I'm going home this weekend for my 40th high school anniversary, and the only reason I mention is that our senior year, the big album, the big movie was Prince's Purple Rain,
oh, right, right.
and it was all about the ruffles back then.
Yeah,
It's we love
yeah.
that David Chappelle skit on where they're beating Eddie Murphy's brothers in basketball, and they're all wearing ruffles and like women's high heels or something. And they're like, rough game. Was it ruffle? Or was that they say? Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
but
But I mean, I can applicate anything on anything. And I thought that would be such a neat thing. And the whole idea was there are so many talented kids in our, and like the next place I went to Art Links on Main Street here.
Okay.
And they have these kids with, well, not kids, or well, everybody's a kid to me, I'm
Sure.
I'm old, but I got these people there, they're special needs and just special
Nice.
people
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
And Patty Jones is the teacher there, and she's going to have the kids paint fabric for me.
Okay.
And I said, just let them paint whatever they want on a
Yeah.
piece of fabric. And then I take a plain dress that I made, and then I'm going to applique them. And then when the people ask me where I got that, I'm going to hand out cards to advertise their school. And then
Nice.
maybe they know, somebody that needs some education or some place for fun or something
Right.
to do. So maybe they'll go there for their school. And then Don Alexa, their art fair is coming up soon. And I asked the teacher there.
Whose art fair is that again? I'm sorry.
Don Alexa. Don Alexa was an art teacher years and years ago.
Okay.
And she died in a car accident. So they have a memorial for her.
And where does that take place?
It's on 83 in a park there in Delafield, or Wales,
okay.
Wales.
Okay.
And so I'm in touch with the director there now, and I sent her some pictures of what I did, and she said, well, what do you want out of this, or what's the deal? I said, I don't want anything except some attention. I love attention, but I don't want to be center of attention.
Yeah.
So but I want some of their artwork, because years ago one of the teachers did give me some.
Yeah.
And so I decorated a dress, and I wish I could show it here, but
sure.
I decorated a dress, and I asked them all to paint fish. So I got all these fish on the bottom of a dress, and I put Don Alexa Memorial Art Fair. So I met Don Alexa's sister at this fair, and she cried, and she just thought it was great. So I got to wear that, and then everything has a story behind it.
Yeah.
And so I want them to do that, and I'll take their business cards. And then I got some T-shirts from a store here in Waukesha that says Friday Night Live, and I made a T-shirt out of that, all patchwork with all different T-shirts that said Friday Night Live on it. Made a dress, walked around on Friday night, and people, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, are you selling those? And I'm like, no, it's my dress. Go and bring your own T-shirts, and I'll make your dress. And so I advertised for the store I got those from. So it's all about marketing and advertising, because I've been in business 42 years, and I got a lot of customers. So
I remember the one day I went to visit you, and the phone would not stop ringing, nor the door would not stop. I mean, and that's great.
Yeah, and I shorten my hours, so I close on Friday, but I'm in there all the time working, and I love it. I mean, I wake up every day enjoying.
It's not like you're downtown, of course, but it's not like you're right on Main Street. It's not the easiest place to find, but people find it. Yeah. Especially your repeat customers, and then of course anyone that's referred are going to get nth degree directions
Oh
from your
yeah, I've never
sworn,
advertised
loyal
ever.
customers. Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, it's your product or your service. That's the best advertisement
Yeah, and
in
then
this case.
my competition was Alina, and she was
She's
right down the
retired.
street.
Yeah. Mary Jane
And
wanted me to mention her.
and you know,
that she's
she used to
retiring.
work for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, when I first opened up out here.
And then she busted out on her own.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, and
Yeah.
she worked for me about 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And then I came to work one day, and she's like, "I'm going."
I'm
And
hanging
like,
my own shingle.
I'm like, "Hey, hey, I don't like competition."
Yeah, but at the
you
same
know,
time, it's like you want your competition to do well, and that just means how prosperous this little niche you're in.
no, I didn't want that. But
Initially, but now, like I said, you
But
you not only survived it, but
you know what? She
Yeah.
called me the other day and
Yeah.
asked me if I wanted some notions, if I wanted anything. We hadn't seen each other in years, and I went over to see
Right.
her, and it was like no time passed. And oh my God, it was great to see her, and we talked, and just it was laughs and just
sure.
old
Oh,
times.
that's great.
Yeah, and so we were going to keep in touch with each other.
That's terrific.
So, yeah.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah, because and you see this especially in restaurant business or certain types of retail. And business has been open for more than 10 or 20 years. Something about the concept like is no longer fresh, or it's it's just not. And again, it's like not only are you surviving the test of time, but you're continuing to thrive. What's your
Mhm.
secret?
My charming personality.
Well, that was one of my guesses. Yeah, so.
No, but I have a couple people that work for me, and they are master tailors. They are top of the line, and if one can't
Nice.
do it, the other one can.
Mhm.
And I don't think I've ever turned anything away. I mean,
Wow.
it's just always something that we always.
When I see you
accept
deal with
it.
customers too, and you always have an even temperament. Like if they're in a stressed out situation, you don't go to that level. You kind of stay above that, and you have a very calming influence. Which is
You've
great.
been in my shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there have been some more battles.
Well, you've been on
Sure.
there a couple minutes then.
Yeah. No, well, we had a nice sit, but so maybe that's not a fair sampling, but still, 40. Yeah. You can't argue with success. 42 years, and
well,
still going strong.
Like I joke around a lot, and so
that's important.
90% of people get my sarcasm or my,
Sure.
my humor, but
yeah,
and if I can't do it, then I do refer people. Like I used to refer people to Lena, and she used to do that to me. I mean, somebody can do it,
Sure.
Unless it's somebody bringing something in that I have to put two dresses together.
I hear you. So, but now going back to your project with the children's art, your kind of partner in crime, if you will, this Melissa Hilmer.
Mm-hmm.
Is a great story in her own right. She's an accomplished artist. She told us over the phone that she is submitting a bid for the Friedman Alley project that the city's given an RFP out, I presume.
Oh, she's fantastic.
And then
she got a degree in art. I mean,
she was nominated again for Forbes top 30 under 30 or something like that for artists.
Yes.
And it's funny because when I think of Forbes, I think business. So it's kind of cool that they're recognizing people at very local levels.
Yeah.
For their work. So Melissa's agreed to come on the show at some point, and I really look forward to seeing her. And we're Mary Jane's here tonight. We're obviously in the Work Hub studios, Mary Jane Sanchez, and same thing. She's excited to meet her as well, and so I think we're gonna have a good time.
Oh, and the other thing is the kids sell their artwork at the Steaming Cup downtown.
Nice,
they really do. Yeah.
Wow. So this is talking about collaborate. Like this is what community is supposed to be about. You're involving several partners, collaborators.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe how talented these kids are. They're really
and then there's that too. You talk about that self-esteem, that self-pride, that self-love. Like that's neat. You're talking about. And the thing is Melissa's more of a facilitator and a teacher in this scenario. It's not even her work; it's the kids that are the Picassos.
Oh, you should go in her classroom. It's really.
We'll have to. Yeah, I'll have to go. Janie and I'll have to go in there with you sometime.
But I was supposed to be an art teacher, but I could never grade a kid on their art. That's all. Your self-expression. How do you grade somebody's art?
I know. I was kind of guy that. Yeah, I learned how to draw within the lines because that's what they kind of beat. But I also like drawing out of the lines and doing crazy stuff. It's funny, even as an adult, like what's therapeutic for me is just taking a crayon. And this is when the kids were little.
Yeah.
I wish they were still little in that way because I liked coloring with them. And I would usually do like landscapes, especially like oceanside landscapes, like where my family's from in Ireland. There's some like really great that I conjure up in my head. And That's really fun to do that with crayon,
Mm-hmm.
and anyone can do it.
Yeah.
And that's really neat.
Well, not anyone, but in high school, I had a teacher that I was good at ceramics, and the teacher said, "I want 9 pots at this semester," and I did 6 good ones, and she said D, and I said, "Oh, you want quantity, not quality, D, D minus."
Oh yeah,
But
that's rough.
But I've always been into art, and
But so my little, I guess, touch with greatness in art was in first grade, where I was, I think kindergarten. I think I was failed kindergarten in first grade. I mean, I wasn't a very good student at a young age, and I think because I just couldn't sit still for more than 10 or 15 minutes without going nuts, and that's why I was never more than a good student, like when it counted, all through, like, grade school and high school. But in first grade, like, kind of what really did it for me was they were the school. I was in Catholic school the 1 year, thank God. Plug your ears, whoever's Mayor Riley or any of the other Catholic school survivors. But no, we had an annual publication where kids got to submit different stories, and the first graders got to do poems, and I wrote a poem that was selected, and it was published in a really prominent place. And it was in the old days when the print was like with the spinner, the roller thing. Oh, it was like the bluish ink. But that was like that feeling of like gratification and like self-worth was like immeasurable. And that's because that's where I did best, was in writing, English, social studies, history, like anything that had a story in it, I could do well. And but that all started with an art project, and like, I'm bashing Catholic schools, but it was a Catholic school project, and so I got to throw props to them. And because that at a young age, that made a huge difference in my life. So I can really appreciate what you and Melissa are doing for these young kids.
Well, see, I almost didn't get out of high school because I had to give a speech, and I stuttered, and I was so shy, I told you. So I knew I was good at ceramics. I did a speech in the dark on ceramics, so nobody could see me.
Right. Oh, nice.
And I got out of high school.
Very cool.
So
that's funny. Yeah, no, that speech was nice. I took a class in speech senior, and I liked public speaking. I still do.
No, I know you do.
And you still get nervous about it, but it's like the important is to be able to laugh at yourself and not take yourself seriously. One thing I learned from Simon Sinek too is that the best presentations start with a story, and you build that personal, and then you can throw in the metrics and the like nationwide, whatever. But when you start with a very personal story, like, people can relate, especially if it's one where they're kind of overcoming adversity, or necessity becomes the mother of invention. So as my phone goes off, sorry about that, Max. So I'm getting a lot of spam calls these days too. But anywho, but in the 2 minutes that we have left in this first segment, like, where are some of the places where people can look at this, the children's art-inspired fashions?
Well, I have them at my shop, and every time somebody comes in for an
Tell us the address again.
740 North Grand Avenue.
740 North Grand Avenue.
On Grand and South.
Grand and South.
And they come in for alterations, but they have to have a show where I show them every single thing that the kids do.
Sure.
It's my shop, whether
hey,
they
yeah,
want to see it
I
or
think
not.
that's a good time. You can make an event out of that, Mary Jane. We'll have to figure that out.
That's for me. And then I'm outside in the back of my shop painting and clothes, and because they'll give me the fabric, and then I paint around whatever they do.
Sure.
So, but it's really unique because people are always wondering, what is that? What is it? And then when I explain it, they say, "Oh my gosh, they're so talented." So it's kind of neat to see people's reactions.
That's neat.
But I'm waiting for Art Links and then Don Alex. I can't wait to see what they're doing.
How many kids are involved?
I think they had about a dozen at Melissa's school, Otto Art Academy.
Otto's Art Academy. Yeah. And then you think this will probably, maybe as it grows, it's going to attract maybe more kids and more parents will want their kids to participate?
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping more kids will go to school. And I want to do some, and then Kurt Otto has a State of the Arts, and that's on South Street.
Okay.
And he's my neighbor, and his kids did some artwork for me a couple years ago, and I made a really neat tote bag out of it, and I kept that for myself. I wasn't going to share that. So, and so they did a nice job, and they did a great job.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, that winds up this first segment of our podcast, and Stephanie's agreed to stick around for the second one. I hope you have some stories and maybe some of the kids to share, as well as some more details. And really, yeah, we're also going to talk about what's going on in downtown Waukesha with businesses and life, and really just the art scene that's nobody thinks about it in terms of with music and all these different art studios. And
The kids,
I barely touched, scratched the surface. And so, more on this week in Waukesha. I want to thank you all for participating in this first segment. Stick around for podcast 2. Thank you, Max, as always, for doing a great job. I don't think I mentioned Max as I usually do in my intro, so very, very embarrassed by that and very apologetic. But Max is he's a true professional. Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
So stick around. Well, don't go away because we got part 2 coming up. We're just going to take a quick breath here as This Week in Waukesha, the podcast series continues. Thank you.
Thank you.